screen here. First, I'm going to highlight the NeuralSeek documentation site to showcase the changelog, and then I'll be showcasing NeuralSeek, and we'll walk through a few of the June new features and tools within the NeuralSeek platform that I'm excited to introduce to you. So in our changelog, we're showcasing new features for June 2026. This would include some updating to our API key creations. Not only can you now add multiple keys per name for an API key, but you can also add expiration dates and customized scoping. So I'm really excited to kind of highlight some of the new API features, and we'll dive into that. When it comes to Maestro, there's quite a bit to showcase as well. I'll have a few new agents in our AI agent marketplace that I can highlight, but we'll also be looking at the Maestro breakpoint and step debugger, updates to debugger enhancements in general, but also a type ahead completion in Maestro. So we're allowing for an auto enhance feature to your Maestro building flows, where we can have NeuralSeek and have Maestro suggest edits to your flow, whether you're working in NTL or the agent builder. So I'll showcase that along with our image-based PII redaction is a new feature as well. So we can pass through an image and get back a flattened redacted image. I'll be using my resume as an example and kind of showcasing that image-based redaction in just a moment. So let me pause and pull up a NeuralSeek instance for us so we can highlight these. All right, let's resume our sharing and get our tech situated. So right now I'm within a NeuralSeek instance. I'm within the Maestro instance. Again, just for familiarity, this would be our home screen of NeuralSeek, and it is that middle tab here, just a tab over to Maestro. Before I pop into Maestro, I do want to highlight our API integrations and our API key and permissionings and scopings as well. So over under admin tools on the far right side, the top drop-down option would be APIs and integration. So I'm going to click on that. And our top screen is our API key screen. I think last month we had walked through some MPC, server connections and protocols. We've made quite a few UI visual updates when it comes to the API screen. We can see quite a few different extensions here as well. But sticking with the top for API keys, what we want to showcase is this screen has gotten a bit of an update. It looks fantastic. So we can delete all of our now expired API keys, but we can also create a key. And this will bring up a new panel for us to be able to add an API key name. This is required and it is to be unique. If I choose to do multiple keys, like say I name this one like Jordan, my test key, right? And if I need 3 of those different keys, as it says right here in our description, those will be named as Jordan Test 1, Jordan Test 2, Jordan Test 3. So let's just do 1 key for now. Well, we can do 2. I can also set an expiration date. This is an optional. I believe the name is the only required field when it comes to adding an API key, as traditionally it has been. But now with the new features, we can set an expiration date. So I'll set that for tomorrow, the 26th. And then we can now scope this key as well. This is an optional step. If I don't select any scoping measures, then we're allowing full access to this key. But I can expand down any of the different functions that I need to scope this key for. Say I'm just using it for Maestro, and I don't need this key to be scoped at all or utilized within Seek or logging. I have multiple configurations in this instance, my default configuration along with a few other ones. So maybe I only want this key scoped to a particular configuration of mine. An agent, I can scope my key based on my agents. So here are all my user agents that I have in this created instance, and I can scope an API key directly to those or to an API endpoint. So While I do have my functions of Maestro scoped out, maybe I'm using this key externally and I only need it scoped out to a certain API function. Or sorry, a certain API endpoint, like my test endpoint or my seek endpoint, right? And then we also have our console API endpoints available for you to scope your keys out to as well, like your agent dashboards, your governance dashboards, and governance responses, being able to add an intent, delete an answer, etc. So all of those scoping functions are available. Let's just choose one so we can see what that looks like. And then we'll click save. So that test key is right here in the middle. I can see that my keys are exposed for me to copy. I do want to copy these and keep these in a safe place or use them immediately because as we can see with my keys above, once I X out of this page and navigate back to it, they will be privatized here. And it is like a one-time copy and paste, as it's always been with our API keys. But now on this panel too, I can see when my key has been last utilized and when it expires. So I can go ahead and delete all of my expired keys, and then this will turn red, I believe. This will let me know and flag that, Jordan test 1 and test 2 has now been expired, because we set that expiration date. I can also expand into the details of each one of these keys. Let's see. So this testing APIs key that I have available here, we can see that it's when it's been created, but it's also scoped for all access. This Jordan test 1 and test 2 key that I have now just created, it's giving me the creation date, and then the scopes are for the function of Maestro only. And then like normal, I can select those and then delete API keys as needed. So pretty cool new updates when it comes to the API keys. So let's navigate back to Maestro. That's our middle tab here, and we can walk through a few new agents. If you haven't checked out the AI Agent Marketplace lately, I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. There are quite a few new agents available in the marketplace to work with, like a SharePoint to a NeuralSeek KB Sync, I believe is newer. I can scroll down. There's quite a few. As you start to scroll, you'll realize how much more in depth a lot of these agents in the marketplace are. Query disambiguator. There's quite a few in here as well when it comes to Maestro users being able to save agents, list different agents via our MCP, creating agent plans, creating tasks, websites, generating a multi-agent system, right? Quite a few new that are just highlighted as NeuralSeek that utilize our MCP tools. So check out the AI Agent Marketplace. What I'm going to show here now is an example agent that we have for our PII redaction flow. So I'm going to utilize a file that I have available. This is just my resume, or just like one page of my resume. It's just an example PNG file. I can expand it. It kind of looks like this, just a first page from my LinkedIn. And I know that I have some PII at the top, like my email, maybe my location, right? So let's go back to our original screen. So that's what we're going to utilize here. So at the top, I'm going to hide my floating meeting controls. At the top, I'm going to do, I'm just going to type image so I can search. This will be under guardrails. We have this PII redact image now. If I scroll down for all of our nodes, I can also find it here about halfway down our scroll bar under guardrails. Remove and identify PII are coming from, our text-based removals of PII, and now we have this new PII redact image. So what I can do is click the properties button and kind of expand some of the inputs that we would need here. So we'll run OCR over our image input, and we'll be able to identify PII either with our own platform PII engine, utilizing an LLM-based PII detection, or adding patterns in regex or plain text to redact line by line, right? So it'll leave us with a black rectangle over our matched words of our PII on the pixel level. The redaction is destructive and the output is a flattened PNG with those masked pixels overwritten and not an overlay that can be removed. So true and secure PII redaction via our images. So I can add a source image to redact if I have the base64 encoded image string. Just for your reference, we do have the ability to save base64 documents or to base64 encode in our string toolbox if you need to get around that way. Or I'll show you this way. I'm using the upload document function here, which allows me to access a file that I've uploaded in our file management folder. I've just uploaded that file from my local file drive, and I'll select my image in this instance to redact. So this one's going to be my resume example. I can add additional patterns of PII that I want to redact. So each line is a regex pattern, and we'll matching is case insensitive. We'll run this in addition to whatever our PII platform engine catches. So that's why I'm going to set this as true, as our next one is to run the built-in PII detectors against our OCR text, right? I can also set the LLM-based PII detection, and this usually catches contextual PII that the regex in our built-in platform may have missed. So, and then additionally, what I'm going to do here so we can showcase the redacted file is I'm going to save my new image file that I get back from my PII redaction as like resume redacted.png as just a new image file name. So say when this node runs, it brings in from our file manager my current resume, non-redacted, redacts our PII that it detects, and then it'll output it as a new file that's accessible here in my file manager under this new name that I've set. So let's close that and run this agent. So as we run, we can expand our debugger, right? And we can see in our debugger that our step time, our image file is the one that we had chosen, that we did use our PII model that is set to true. We've named our new file output, and that we've been able to redact 1 out of 290 words. And that PII type was our email address that was detected, right? So I can get my agent timeline, and then I can also see that here in my variable inspector. As we've known as with our Maestro nodes, a lot of them come with pre-built in set variables. So like PII redact image redacted count, we can gather that, say in a separate agent, and be able to loop this and say, for this image, we've got an account of 4 different types of PII detected and get an average based on our documentation. So before I kind of move on to what this suggested feature is showing us here, I want to display what that resume redacted looks like. So I can see in my file manager here, I have resume redacted as my new PNG. I can download this, or I can also preview. And as I expand forward or zoom in a little bit more, right, that email address that I originally had at the top is now blacked out and redacted. And this is my new image file that I can upload and share. So let me pause and let's get us back to our Maestro instance, and we will talk about some of those new features that we had seen. So that's PII detection, redaction for our image nodes, new and very cool. And you can see here as I ran that agent, this set variable node coming from NeuralSeek is a little bit more grayed out than the variable for the PII redaction that I brought in myself into our agent editor. And it says at the top here, suggested. And I can also view at the bottom that we have a type ahead suggestion for one suggested node. I can review what this ghost node is applying, and I can use some of my keyboard commands like escape to dismiss it, or control and my home button plus enter to accept it, right? or I can click right here to accept or dismiss my suggested new variable. So this is helping kind of auto-complete your flows by allowing suggested edits as you're building, making for faster, more accurate build time when it comes to Maestro as well. So I can go ahead and accept this edit. And what NeuralSeek has determined is, we're taking our redacted image, and typically we can set that as a variable and utilize it elsewhere throughout a flow as we continue to build, right? So to keep this feature enhanced or enabled, we can toggle this button down here at the bottom called Auto Enhance, and we can turn off Enhance as well. So now this is a disabled feature, and I no longer see that little magic wand at the top. Let me show you what it would look like with, say, our memo. So this is a very basic topic where we're writing a memo to our staff, we're searching our knowledge base for it, and then we're saying, you're a business writer, write this memo for us, right? I'm not quite sure what knowledge base I have attached, so we can see what this auto enhance looks like. It's popping up as a little magic wand as well on each one of my nodes, any node that I go to edit or utilize. Let's click evaluate. Let's search for Maestro. I don't know if I have NeuralSeek documentation, which I might not. Okay, I'm using some sports catalog as example documentation. So I wasn't able to pull back Maestro from my KB passages in order to kind of use that LLM as generation, and that's okay. So let's change our OpenAI model here, and let's type in, let's say, basketball instead as my search topic. I have my auto enhance on and enabled here. And it works, there we go. It works very similarly to how we would auto enhance with our magic wand button down at the bottom. Let's get us a memo writer email. Let's use a managed model. Now, just to let you know, I am on a staging instance, so I most likely what I was receiving an error here, which we can troubleshoot, but I wasn't utilizing one of my managed models, and I didn't have a credential key for that GPT-4o model that I was utilizing. But neither here nor there. So what we can do here is, I had my memo written to staff. I can inspect the debugger, expand all, see what was brought in as my text, what was brought in as my KB query, and overall what was generated via the LLM by my memo. And I get all that step information available to me as well. So I can X out of that. Here, this magic wand button at the bottom allows me to enhance my agent. It works similarly to the auto builder, but specific for my agent. So I can say, the output should be short and in bullet points for a CEO team. And then I can use that to enhance this agent or provide it, I shouldn't be searching for in my KB search topic. So enhance this agent by adding a Wikipedia node where I can connect to the internet and search the broader web spaces for information about basketball to give to my C-suite as a memo. We can see as I auto enhanced here, it did change the text prompt and the send to LLM prompt for me. Again, that magic wand is right there to improve my LLM prompt on every LLM node. And then keeping my auto enhance on, I can click that button here at the magic wand. It'll let me know how to auto enhance or what next steps to take as I run through my flows. Very similarly to what we saw there with the redact PII image node. So taking a look back at my notes, auto enhance within NeuralSeek agent building, allowing us for some faster, more optimized agent building in of itself, some expanded details and information there in our debugger, right? New Maestro agents added to our AI agent marketplace, always a benefit, especially ones that are connecting to our MCP tools and we can utilize to enhance our NeuralSeek build, such as being able to get our run logs, being able to run a seek, generate a multi-agent system, etc. As well as new nodes like our image PII redaction, but then also scoping and permissions and expirations when it comes to API keys. I think that those are our top highlights. If I navigate back to our NeuralSeek changelog here, documentation.neuralseek.com, and I can find this all under our changelog page and under our June new features. And I believe that's all for me that I can really dive into here. And I'm looking forward to next month's webinar and new feature alerts and releases there too. Keep an eye on the changelog and our documentation page, as well as our NeuralSeek homepage website. I'll always flash this up for us to kind of end here, just so you have all of the links that are available for us.
Well, thank you so much,